dude. They'll come through the door. I will shoot.
Hi, I'm Joel Persinger. I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for all of your support of GunGuyTV. I'm super grateful for everything you do. Quick reminder, please do check us out on these other platforms because YouTube tends to cancel things, shadow ban things, delete things, and like that. And I have a feeling in the election year that we're in, you're probably going to see more of that, not less. So it's a good idea to also connect with free speech-loving platforms. So we are also I can talk. We're also on X. And we are also on Rumble. So if you'd like to watch these videos, I suggest you subscribe to us on both of those platforms. You will find links in the description, or just go to the platform and search for GunGuyTV. If you'd like to support the channel, then you can do that one of two ways. You can go to GunGuyTV Crew, where you can get access to pretty much content every day, and I shoot a lot of videos and that kind of stuff that you don't have access to unless you're a member of the crew, and you can join GunGuyTV Crew at GunGuyTVCrew.com. You can also do it on Patreon or Locals. If you're on either of those platforms, just search for GunGuyTV and you'll find me there. The other thing you can do is you take a class with me at Practical Defense Systems. So there you go. That's all of that. Let's go talk to Sam Paredes from Gun Owners of California. That's why I've got the hat on, which I'm going to take off because I want Sam to see it. I'll surprise him with it here in just a minute. Let's go talk to Sam. Sam Paredes, friend of mine. God love you. I love you. Thank you very much for joining me today. And since one day, we did an interview, and one day I said something about CRPA, and you went, Gun Owners of California. Okay, so I want to make sure I got it right this time. So I came prepared. I have my note-taking, apparatus. And, hold on.
Dun, dun, dun.
I've got the appropriate hat. And since we're going to talk about guns, and we know that people in Sacramento get the vapors and clutch their pearls every time they see a gun. Hold on. Oh, no! It's a black rifle! Okay, now that we've done that. What is going on in the crazy state of California? I know that Anthony, good night, can he get weirder, crazier, and do stupider stuff? Portantino has proposed some sort of an annual registration fee, also known as a poll tax, but that's what he's proposing. But there's a whole lot of other nonsense going on out there, so I just figured if you wouldn't mind updating us, I will shut up and off you go.
Well, Joel, first of all, it's always a pleasure to be with you. I love you, brother. And, the eager beavers at the legislature cannot control themselves. They've introduced 32 new bills having to do with guns. And believe it or not, only 2 of them, I believe, are actually pro-gun bills. One bill that says, you know what? If somebody commits a crime with a gun, maybe they should go to jail. Yeah. That bill's not going to make it out of the legislature, I don't think. But
well, that's sort of a novel concept in California. That's why. So, yeah. But it was a good idea.
Yeah, it was while it lasted. But anyway, we've got Anthony Portantino with SB 53 and SB 1160, which is a new bill to require everybody to register every gun they have every single year. So it also gives the Department of Justice carte blanche to charge whatever they say it costs to administer this program. Now, let me put it in perspective for you. California is 10 to 20% of everything in the country. So recently we've heard reports that there are between 450 and 500 million guns in America. That means there are between 45 and 50, on the low side, million guns in the state of California that Anthony Portantino wants all of us to register every single year. So if you have even a minor collection of 10 guns, and they want to charge $100 per registration, that's $1,000 you are going to have to pay in order to register your guns. Even if you own a lot of guns that are not presently registered, if you don't register their guns, they will charge you with an infraction, but with a $1,000 fine for each violation. So you don't register 3 guns, it's $3,000 in fines. And this applies to everybody. Everybody says, yeah, all the law enforcement exemptions and all that stuff. Well, it doesn't apply to the privately owned guns of all law enforcement members. So they're going to have to register all their guns as well. And, you know, if we have to do it, law enforcement should have to do it. And this is a situation where they should be as upset about this as we are. So completely unconstitutional. Just this week, there was a case back east where a court, a state court, held that it's unconstitutional to charge a fee or a tax in order to exercise a constitutional right. And that is exactly what this is doing. First of all, let me set this up. Last time I was in the legislature, 2 times ago, I went in to testify against Senator Portantino's bill. And he sees me in the audience, and he looks over his shoulder, and he says, "You're going to love the next bill I sponsor." And I said, "I'm sure I will." And this is that bill that he sponsored. And he wants to know how many guns there are and who has them. Why?
What do you think the odds are for this stupid thing?
Unfortunately, the odds are that this bill is going to make it through the legislature and get to Governor Newsom's desk, and he will gladly sign it, knowing full well that it will never see the light of day, because we will be prepared to sue him the day he puts ink to paper to authorize this bill. So imagine a database of 50 million records. I mean, that's I don't know, more than the DMV. The computers, they can't even effectively keep track of 25,000 people who we know should not have guns, and they don't know if they do in the armed prohibited person system. So woefully mismanaged that program. They've spent tens of millions of dollars, and they can't get it right.
Do they even have a mechanism to try to chase down 50 million guns in the state and figure out who's done what with them and who moved out of state, who took them out of state, who, you know, gee, they fell off the boat and I'm sorry, I was hunting ducks and my shotgun fell off the boat and I don't have it anymore. I mean, you know, or whatever the reason. They don't, is there even a mechanism in this bill to do that, or is it just throwing crap at the wall to see what sticks?
That's exactly what Portantino is doing. He in his comment to me, he might as well have just reached back and flipped me the middle finger, because he knows that this is a monumental task to give to the Department of Justice to implement with all of these records. And for what purpose? He didn't even argue that this in some way helps to solve crime or anything like that, because we know nationwide registration systems are not a good tool for helping law enforcement to solve crimes or to stop crimes. And so it is nothing more than a turd that he wanted to leave us lawful gun owners in California as he attempts to move up to Congress, because he's termed out in the state.
All right, what else have they concocted in their, you know, as they sat around their witch's kettle up there and stirred up their witch's brew? What other nastiness are they pouring out on all over us in California?
Well, they've got one bill in the Senate, one bill in the Assembly that will require insurance companies who offer homeowners insurance to have the proposed insurers fill out a questionnaire outlining how many guns they have, where they are stored in their homes, in their outbuildings, or their vehicles, and then the insurers are going to be required to report that to the Department of Insurance and the Department of Justice. Imagine that. I mean, as if insurance companies don't need another reason to not issue policies in the state of California. This is going to give them a peace out situation. Say, you got guns, we're not going to insure you.
All right. So what else are they doing to us, Sam, in the great state of California, where they would like to have us all be serfs as opposed to citizens?
We have a whole slew of different bills that have to do with gun violence restraining orders, different aspects of it, who can do it, mental health. They're going to require mental health experts to report their patients who they deem might be a danger to themselves or others. They have to report them to the Department of Justice. They're required to. So they're going to make medical professionals violate their oath of privacy by law. We've got one of the good bills, AB 3038 by Assemblyman Bill Asaley, who's just a rock star. He says, hey, why don't the state needs to require at least one armed officer, safety officer in every school. Every school has to have at least one armed security officer on their premises. And, you know, the legislature has not wanted to do that. And my comment is, you know, child safety is a common sense thing. And having somebody who can immediately respond to a danger, that makes common sense. Why wouldn't you be supportive of that? It kind of makes me think, well, maybe they want these disasters to happen.
They want the disasters, right.
Yeah.
They want the disasters. You've taken away the mass shooting at schools from them. And who was it, Rahm Emanuel or somebody I once who coined the phrase, never let a tragedy go to waste, or never let a good disaster go to waste. They leverage the tar out of this stuff. And so if you take it away from them, they have nothing to leverage. These people do not care about kids. They do not care about the safety of the public. They do not care about any of that. They only care about their power. And that's the problem. And yes, I know I've impugned their character. Well, if that's you and you're watching this, get over it. Your character needs to be impugned because you haven't got any. So, but yeah, that's why they don't. I mean, I've asked myself for years, why wouldn't they do this? It's common sense. Well, because it doesn't fit their desires and their agenda, and that's just the truth of it, as sad and terrible as it sounds. Anyway, I interrupted you so that I could rant again. I apologize. So what else have we got?
We've got another bill that will require all trigger lock safe gun storage companies, if they want to sell or provide their products in the state of California, that they would have to be put on an approved list and pay for it. And if they don't pay for it, and you happen to have a gun safe or trigger locks that were manufactured by these unapproved vendors, you are no longer safely storing your guns with a California approved device. So they're money grabbing, you know, control freaks. And
so wait a minute. Let me make sure I understand what you just said. So I bought a safe from ABC Safe Company. I'm just making one up. Okay, an ABC Safe Company at the moment is approved by California, or is the type of device that California acknowledges is an actual safe, and as a result, if I'm going to try to obey the California safe storage laws and I have them in my ABC safe made by ABC Safe Company, I'm good to go. But now they want to, if I read you right, they want to charge ABC Safe Company a fee annually in order for them to essentially be on a list of approved devices. And if they're unwilling to pay that fee, then not only can they not sell their products new products in California and call them, you know, approved by the state of California, but me, the lawful gun owner, who may be completely unaware of all of this, who has already purchased an ABC safe from ABC Safe Company, is now in violation of the California storage laws because ABC Safe Company has fallen off the list. Never mind the fact that it cost me $2,000 or $2,500 for the safe made by ABC Safe Company that when I bought it was approved. Did I get that right?
Spot on. That's exactly what they want to. You know, right now when you buy any new gun, and most used guns and private party transfers, they all come with a trigger lock, you know, that are all approved by the FAA and are acceptable to the Department of Justice. Now, all of the firearms manufacturers are going to have to make sure that they contract to purchase trigger locks for their guns that they sell all over the country with a company that is validly registered with the state of California and has paid a fee in order for them to accept those trigger locks. So if they don't do that, then the purchaser is going to have to be required to buy a California approved device himself or herself, apply it onto the gun before they can take possession of a firearm that they purchased. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Here's one that'll drive everybody crazy as well. Senate Bill 1253 by Senator Lena Gonzalez will require everybody to always have a valid firearm safety certificate. Right now you can get a certificate. It's valid for 5 years. You can buy guns. You've taken the test. You've proven to the state of California, according to the Department of Justice regulations, that you know how to safely handle the gun, load it and unload it, and store it. Well, what she is saying that everybody will have to have a valid firearm safety certificate at all times. In other words, after 5 years, whether you buy a gun or not, you have to go take the test again and get another valid firearm safety certificate. And when you are taking your guns out on a walk or to the range or whatever you're going to do, you have to have a valid firearm safety certificate on your possession in order to not be afoul of the law.
This stuff must give you a headache. It's certainly given me one. Is even any of this just mildly constitutional? I mean, is any of this even close to in adherence with the Constitution?
Not a single bill that they have proposed is constitutional. Many of them are presently being litigated in the court system and can ultimately...
In other states, you mean?
In other states.
Yeah.
And if they're deemed unconstitutional, it'll apply in California as well. They're very afraid of that. Their vaunted gun violence restraining orders, which grossly violates people's
Fourth Amendment.
Yeah, Fourth Amendment, 14th Amendment. They are really afraid. They like these precog laws where they think that people can predict who is going to be a danger to themselves or others. Instead of just reporting somebody who is acting violently or something like that, they can get a GVRO and then have the police come in and take somebody's guns away without due process. The person will not know who filed the GVRO, and the state will say, please, we've taken your guns, go out and be nice. Don't do anything bad. If they're truly in a state of danger, don't you think that the state would want them to be evaluated and treated for that situation? They don't care about that. They just want to take guns away by any means possible.
I mean, as I said before, I think they don't even want those people incarcerated or those people treated, because if they treat them or incarcerate them, then they can't go out and do heinous things they can use later on for political purposes. So I'm trying to think of an example in history, since they now have to go back to text, history, and tradition, and they have to find an analogous law, some similar law around 1791 or 1868, is it? Around the 14th Amendment? 65? Somewhere? 1865, okay. And if they can't find something in those periods that is similar, then the law is unconstitutional.
By definition.
I'm not seeing any, I'm not mindful of any law during that period of time that requires your doctor to ask you, what guns you have, that requires your some other professional, your insurance agent, to document what guns you have, that requires you to tell a government official what guns you have, that requires you to pay a government official every year for the privilege of exercising a constitutionally protected God-given right, which is not a privilege. I'm not aware of any law that covers any of these things that you listed, which would be in any way similar to what they're trying to do, that existed around the founding of the country, none of these things would our founders tolerate. And if I remember Justice Thomas's express instructions, if it is determined that the founders would not tolerate it then, it will not be tolerated now. So if I'm right about that, I think I am, correct me if I'm not, if I'm right about that, is this just sort of the last gasp of try anything, throw anything at the wall, try it all, toss it all up there, make as big a nuisance of yourself as you can, tie up the pro-gun folks in the court as much as you can, keep trying, keep writing them, even though you know they're going to die? Is that what these people are doing?
That is exactly what they're doing, and you are absolutely correct, Joe, in your thoughts, your opinions, your observations of what is going on. They are in an absolute panic, knowing that the Assault Weapons Control Act, the magazine bans, ammunition control laws, 10-day waiting periods, prohibitions against 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and 20-year-old adults from exercising their full Second Amendment rights. Everything, waiting period, microstamping, so-called safe handgun list, the roster of approved handguns. They know that all of those are unconstitutional. So they are just throwing everything they can to obfuscate, to delay, to force us to take them to court. I don't know if they think they're going to distract us from the other cases that we are already so deeply involved in. And they're not. And that's why, when you ask how I'm doing, I tell you, Joe, I'm living the dream right now. We are in such a good position. It just takes a frustrating amount of work to win these victories and battles. The law is perfectly clear. Now, the Supreme Court has already accepted, I think, 3 cases that will affect the Second Amendment this term. There are another half dozen bills that they're considering. Now, typically, they don't take a Second Amendment case but once every 10 years or so. But in this case, they've already overcome that. And typically, they take around 200 cases. Right now, they've only accepted like 65 cases. So we are presenting to the Supreme Court cases where there are absolute splits in the appellate courts, and we are very confident that we're going to be quite successful in a lot of them.
Is California just a lost cause? Is it even salvageable? Is it worth saving?
It absolutely is worth saving, because although there are a lot of anti-gunners in the state of California, a significant portion of the state of California, if you take out the greater Bay Area, Los Angeles, and the greater metropolitan area there, the rest of the state, which unfortunately doesn't make up the majority of the population, they are constitutionalists. They are on our side. They are exercising their rights, and their leadership and their sheriffs are all doing everything they can within their power, according to the laws that they have to enforce, doing whatever they can to mitigate the impacts of the rabidly anti-gun legislature. So no, California is not a lost cause, and we have to fight here because, as we used to say all the time, what happens in California affects the rest of the country. We either affect or infect the rest of the country, and we've been doing a whole lot of infecting. But the interesting thing is that I think it is clear that they are throwing everything against the fan to see what sticks. And I think they know full well that they are going to lose from one end of the spectrum to the other. And so they're like a wounded skunk. It's squirting stinky stuff all over the place.
What are you seeing? I mean, I guess that's my question. Do you see anecdotal changes in the state of California? Are you seeing more membership of GOC, an increasing involvement of people? What are your thoughts?
We're seeing a lot more people that are becoming engaged. The fact that we have maybe a million new gun owners in the state of California. More than half of them are women. More than half of them are people of color. That I think that people are getting good and fed up with the direction that California is going in right now, and that's a really good thing. But our fights are in the courts, and we will win there first, and then we will share that with the hearts and minds of everybody. And those that don't want to believe, I'm sorry, too bad, so sad. But that'll be the law of the land, and that's what we're shooting for.
All right, last word, Sam. Anything else we should say?
Just stay involved, pay attention, go to our website, gunownersca.com. It'll give you all of the latest information on the lawsuits, on the legislation. Continue to listen to Gun Guy TV, because here in California, you are the light. This is where you find out what's going on in California. So we want everybody to support Joel at Gun Guy TV, and that's fight on. Don't get bogged down. Don't be a naysayer. Be a part of the solution, not the problem.
There you go. And by the way, I'm a very nice man. If you don't believe it, just ask me. Sam, have a wonderful week. I love you, brother. Take care, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all of your support of Gun Guy TV. I am super duper grateful. Thank you for watching the entire interview. Have a wonderful week. If you would like to support the channel, you can do that by going to GunGuyTVCrew.com or looking for the link in the decision. You can join, or in the description rather. You can join Gun Guy TV Crew, where you can get exclusive content you can't get anywhere else, and you have a direct connection to me if you'd like to have that as well. You can also take a class with us, as I mentioned during the break, with Practical Defense Systems. That's the business my wife and I own, and that's what I actually do for a living. So check it out.